Welcome, beautiful souls. Our guest today is Moira Cormack, and she's not only an earth angel sent from the heavens to bring love back to this place, she's a published author and a life coach, or should I say, love coach, because she's helping women to reclaim their pleasure, their bodies, and therefore their power. Today, she will not only share her wisdom with us, today we open the gates to pleasure paradise. Ladies, let's reclaim our pleasure. In your Instagram bio, you wrote that you help women to live a radiant and vibrant life. And I think that's so beautiful and so important. What's the role or the importance in especially women's life to get in touch with their own pleasure and to experience themselves? What do you think about that, or how do you feel about that?
I just feel it's huge because, we can start by going, well, we could start with my generation. So I'm a woman that was one of the first women to get to go to university, that
Wow.
it was acceptable for my generation to go. It still wasn't every day. It still wasn't like now almost everybody goes on to tertiary education. But in my day, there was just there were less of us that did. There were less people that went to university altogether. And so for women to do that was quite a big thing. So I feel that I crossed this generation gap, whereas behind me, my mother, when she started working, had to give up, when she got married, she had to give up her job. So I was one of the first generations of women who was given the gift of a career and a life. And because it was a gift, I was also expected to have it. I was expected for it to be mine. So there was this weight of expectation. And when I got married, I was expected to keep on working and raise a family. So I was actually expected to do everything that my mother had done when she hadn't been working and also work. Now, it just so happened that that wasn't my particular fate. But um, but for separate reasons, I had honeymoon twins, and we immigrated to Bombay in India when I was pregnant. So I gave up my career. but in all of this expectation, I mean, I do think younger men have changed. They've come on in understanding that they need to support their wife, that raising the family is a joint activity. But I cannot believe that all those expectations from generations and generations have entirely gone. So women find themselves in this place where they don't always know what they want. And if they want to stay with their family, that's actually now very difficult. So they're not getting the lives they want. So the stress and expectation on women is enormous. So it's easy to see why women die from breast cancer, and more women die from heart attacks than men. And we are dying because our hearts are broken. Both your heart, your physical heart, and your breasts are in front of your heart. And we are dying because our hearts are broken. Because in amongst all of this, we are lost. And pleasure returns us to ourselves.
You put that so beautifully. Wow. I'm very, very deeply touched by what you said. Thank you. Wow. So what would you recommend to women that are just opening up to rediscovering themselves? We talked about, or we wrote about
the movie Leo, My Time with Leo, which is a perfect example for this generation of women. And but beside the fact that putting someone else into the picture, how can we get in touch with our bodies again, and with our
we have to reclaim our pleasure, because inside our pleasure is our power. Because in everything I've just described, we have given our power away. At the very start of my coaching, even before I was in a course and a woman said, how do I go into relationship and not give my power away? Every time I get into relationship, I give my power away. And you cannot give your power away when you own your own pleasure, because then you own yourself. You're not waiting for somebody else to find it for you. And really, what is that doing to men? I mean, I don't know about you, but there was a game we played as a child called Pin the Tail on the Donkey, where we were blindfolded and we had to guess where the tail on the donkey went. We were spun around. And I think that's what men are like, because a woman's turn on will be different every single day. It will change through her month. And poor men, I mean, they do something and the woman, they do it once and it works. And so they do it the next time. And she doesn't want to go, it's not working this time. So she goes, and she says it works. And then she's stuck with it. She's created a situation where she's stuck with that one thing. And he thinks, I can please my woman. And, I mean, he's desperate to please her. Men actually want to give, and women are here to receive. And everything in the media tells us the other way around. Everything in pornography tells us the other way round. But I have never yet met a man whose ambition and desire is not to give enormous pleasure to his woman. And I've almost never met a woman who isn't lying.
my God.
And so, in order to try and please him, I mean, the lying that we do is phenomenal. The lying that we all do through our lives is phenomenal. Everything would change if nobody lied anymore. If somebody said to you, how are you? And you said, well, I'm a bit sleepy today. Or, you tell the truth, but generally we go, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm fine. And you're obviously not fine. So, like, everybody knows you're lying.
It's like a cassette tape. We just push the button and then it pops out and we're like, did that, okay.
Yeah.
got around going deep into things, just pushing it away.
Yeah. But that's not intimacy. So we long for intimacy. We long for pleasure. We crave intimacy with all our hearts. Women are desperate for a connection with a partner, and they're lying, and it's not their fault that they're lying. They come from this complicated set of dynamics, and they also come from fear of men, because I stand here, a woman alive, and behind me I have my mother, my grandmother, my great-grandmother, my great-great-grandmother, and all the way back to the beginning of my genetic line. And all those women for 2,000 years, 2,000 years, have had their safety under the belt of men.
You have to realize that and be like, oh my God.
Yeah, we're you know we're if you know if the lifespan of those 2,000 years is a meter, we're less than a millimeter of existence. We can't we can't blame ourselves, but we can claim ourselves.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah, we can claim our pleasure, because when you move, when you move through the world as a radiant magnetic woman, because you're not afraid of being a radiant magnetic woman, and we have a history of being afraid. Don't go out dressed like that. Don't do this, don't do that. But actually, we are now at an age where that's flipped. So the old safety was obey the rules. But the new risk and danger is to obey the rules. The new safety is only to be you. Only to be you.
Intimacy is a good point. How
Yeah.
how can we reestablish that and be ourselves when we don't know who we are? How can we? What do you
Well,
think about
you
that?
have you have to start, and you can't expect it to happen like that. So we know that most of the cells in our bodies are renewed every 7 years. So it takes the best part of 7 years. But let's say by 3.5 years, which is the halfway mark, or 4 years, you flip them. But you have to start. So you start by living from the body, respecting the body. We live from a head down world. Even mantras are head down. To a certain extent, meditation is head down. It's about thoughts and trying to quiet the mind or let the thoughts go. It's all in the head. Everything is in the head. But your body is your life. If you want to soothe your nervous system, you come into the body. You touch the body. You connect to your body. The way the nervous system works is the gut is a bigger brain than the brain. So the sensations start in the body. They came up to the brain. They're repeated over and over again. They tell the same story. I'm not good enough. I don't deserve this. I always do this wrong. Whatever the story is, the story comes. The sensation kicks in. The story comes. It goes back down into the body. It builds it. So you have layers and layers and layers of those stories stored in the body. So the way to change them is you come into the body. You learn how to breathe and hold the sensation in the body with the story before it tells the story. And you use pleasure to bring you space, because those sensations in that story need space. So I do a body up and I do a head down approach, but I start with the body. You have to come into your body. You have to come into your body.
I'm learning so much. Thank you so much. I hope people can learn. Oh, I hope that speaks to people's hearts and bodies and minds. Wow. Yeah, we really are in our heads and not in our bodies.
We're really in our heads. But like if you have sex or an orgasm through your head, forgive me. I'll ask for forgiveness before I do this. But when we're addicted to sex in our heads, which is what we are programmed to have. So porn is all in the head. It's looking, it's reading, it's in the head. And so then you're kind of like, you're pushing the body, you're sort of forcing the body to have that orgasm. And people who have those kind of orgasms, which are part of that, they're not bad. I mean, they're part of the menu of possible orgasms. But when it's only in the head, yeah, there's a big menu out there. That's just one. And it's the one we tend to have. And when you have those, you're going to look a bit, oh, a bit sort of tight-faced. You're sort of pushing into the orgasm, and oh my God, and at the end of it, you've spent your energy and it's gone. Well, there's a completely different way.
How can we approach that differently?
Well, it's what I coach, it is one person at a time, but um you come into your body, and then when I mean, I can just breathe it now. I've trained my body so well. So you breathe the orgasm in and round your body, you circle it through the cells. And when you've had your orgasm, which can last 40 minutes or an hour, just rolling through your body, and just in this kind of like, lovely state, you're energized. You actually have energy for living.
Oh, I hope you work with as many women as possible so every woman can experience that, or the different stages of what an orgasm can feel like.
Yes.
Wow.
You can have breast orgasms, you can have neck and face orgasms. So when I orgasm, I often touch my face and my neck. So now I can actually orgasm just from touching my face and neck, because you can feed your body. So if I'm in a situation like I'm a published author, so I have a novel out, and I haven't been out and about with my novel for years, but it's a children's novel, and I used to go around schools reading, and so I never knew what I was going to say. So before I would go to the school, I would sit in the car and just breathe the energy around me, and then I would just go in, and I would be ready. My body would be ready. So it is coming into your body, and the first kind of orgasm is often the way we also live. So we live from that hard pushing energy, push, 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 and that it is true. It's a stress, and it's that's how we live. We live from that type space, busy, 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 stress, running home, doing this, doing that. I mean, it's really a really hard life. It doesn't have to be, but it's how we've been raised. It's all the expectations on us. And when we learn how to come from pleasure, you can do more, but it's just enjoyable. You can say, when the child comes or somebody says, "Can you do this?" You can just say, "Come here and sit beside me. Come here. Sit beside me, because I can't move just yet. My body's tired." And you honor your body's energy, and it's changing, life changing.
So when we do the steps to feel our bodies and breathe in our bodies and experience different things, first with ourselves probably, but what happens when we put somebody else into the picture? You have to be at a certain, you have to feel secure enough to really feel things from your body, from inside your body. You know what I mean? Because
yes. Well, the thing is that essentially we are all, let me just think, we're all a musical note.
yes,
Millions and millions of musical notes, and each of us is a musical note. And there are certain frequencies, and we hear people on those frequencies. And those are our people. Like there are millions of people on this earth, and I will meet hundreds of people in my life. I will cross paths with hundreds, but not every single person. So people who I have a conversation with, people who come close to my life, they're on that musical note. So the people that we attract are on that same frequency as us. So when you're living from the stressed place, you are attracting people who are at that same frequency. So when you change your frequency, you change who comes into your life, because so you attract somebody who's ready to be on that frequency with you.
So
So then you can have you know they will with luck be respectful of you. They will find joy in you because they can give. You know, if it's a man, if you know, if it's a different, if it's not a man and you're not strictly heterosexual, I mean that's where I am. I'm heterosexual, so that's what I'm talking about. But you know, you might be you might not be heterosexual, but you might be the more masculine energy, and you can then inhabit that and attract the feminine energy or whatever it is. It's in a sense it's masculine feminine energy, as opposed to male female. So I would be attracting masculine energy because I feel I have feminine energy. And I have creative feminine energy. I also have masculine energy, which I need for my boundaries. You know, we all need both, but in a partner, I would want a masculine partner who wanted to give, and I would be able to receive. So, you know, a man who was able to give. You know, a man wants a woman who is completely lost in pleasure. If he's with her and he feels that she's reached a place of immense pleasure, he feels like a god. So, you know, because women change the world. Let's make no mistake. You know, I remember, you know, my family come from the far north of Scotland, and hundreds of years ago, the Viking ships crashed on that little corner that sticks out, which is Caithness. And the Vikings went and they took the women and they lived in the homes. But soon the language everybody spoke was Scots, because the women were at home raising the children and they still spoke to the children in their own language, and the male's language went. And so, you know, the women shared their values and the men would have shared some of theirs, but they just weren't there as much. So when we are in our own pleasure and in our own radiance, we will attract somebody who is attracted to that. And then we are giving that as a gift.
Wow. So I find myself asking myself, will I ever be ready to surrender completely to somebody? So do I have to reach that place? Is it a state of mind and the frequency place? And then there will be somebody.
Body place. It's a body place.
Okay.
You can learn to do it with somebody else. But if you learn to do it yourself, you'll learn to do it with safety. So you will know where you're going, because surrender is not the same as letting go.
Okay.
You know, so for instance, if we want something, we really want something, and we've been holding it tightly. I want it, I want it, I want it so much. We have so much expectation tied onto it that we're holding it tight, which can be all sorts of aspects of our lives. And somebody says, let it go. Letting it go is the opposite of holding it tight. It's like pushing it right away, not having it. Surrendering is releasing your grip
Mm.
and trusting that life will bring you what it brings you. And so it's the same with sexuality. You're not letting go, you're relaxing your body into surrender, but it's still you and it's still your body. There is a very subtle difference between the two. The thought of total surrender can be frightening because it almost feels as if you lose yourself, whereas actually it's gaining yourself.
Mm.
So it's fully being yourself as opposed to letting all of yourself go. Does that help?
Yes, it does help. And the ability to receive, it's also a body place. Like,
Yes. Sex is in the body. It is the body.
da-da-da.
You know, good, satisfying sex lives in the body. Pleasure lives in the body, not in the head. You know, if your head is trying to convince it and your body's going, oh, when will this be over? You know,
Oh my God. There's so much to discover about oneself and sexuality and pleasure. But I have to say at this point that I feel that you're totally embodying what you're preaching and teaching. I totally feel that. So wow.
yes, yes. It sometimes it's become so natural to me
Mm.
that I kind of forget what it was like before when it
Okay.
wasn't. And and I wonder whether I'm able to truly speak to people because I have forgotten, but I haven't really forgotten because I did live all the other stages of it.
Yeah.
You know, I was married for 16 years and I felt beholden to stay in the marriage. And for a long time, I did not want to have intimacy with my husband. I did not. And so I was definitely saying, is it over? How could I get this to be quicker so it would be over faster?
Oh.
um, but you know, I believe almost all women have been there and experienced that.
Yeah, I can totally relate to that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it is the truth, and if you don't have a clear line of communication, then and you don't know. I mean, like I go out in the world, at the social media world, and I see all these things that say you need a clear line of communication, you need this, you need that, and then yeah, that's nice. But nobody says how. Nobody says how. This is how you do it. These are the practical steps you take day to day to get there. And that's basically what I do. I take you through practical steps. It's infinitely practical, it's infinitely achievable. And your mind will go, it's not working. It's I did it twice. She said if I did this, it would work, and I've done it twice, and it's not working. I've done it for a week, and it's not working. Um, it, it if only it were that simple, because we have a lot of blocks and stuck energy. So, um, you know, your nervous system is, you can imagine it like a tree or a highway or a complicated electrical current. But whatever inside that, running from your root up into your brain, are places where you don't want to go anymore. Like if you had a lover that lived 2 streets down, you might do everything in your power never to drive down that street again, because now he's happily married, and you don't want to see him kissing outside the front door. So you never take that street. So you go the long way around. Well, our energy does exactly that in our bodies. So we have places with hurts in them that we don't want to go. So the first step is always self-regulating the nervous system, because very few of us grew up with wonderfully self-regulated nervous systems. And regulating the nervous system is somatic work. It's slow. It's slow, and it's like the mind just goes, this isn't working. The mind will fight you every single step of the way. It will say, this isn't going to work, this isn't going to work. But you just keep doing it, and you go, I hear you, mind. I know you think that, but we're just going to do it again, you know.
Wow.
I know you don't trust that, because the mind wants to be in control. So we think there are all sorts of controlling people out there. But to me, the person with the greatest control, the greatest narcissist, is your own mind. Give me the power. Give me the power to run your life. How dare you bring pleasure into your body? I'm the god up here.
I just thought about it yesterday that women that are my age are also just discovering their bodies and how it feels to not only with pleasure, but to breathe inside the body, like to really feel what is going on right now.
Yes.
We're just there. we're
yes.
just there. Wow.
Yes. but you know, who taught anybody?
Mm.
You know, who taught you? Who you know, who taught you to feel pleasure? Who taught you to calm your nervous system? As I'm saying this, I'm thinking of my child who tantrumed, and how I would stroke her foot and stroke her foot and stroke her foot, endlessly just stroking her feet, and how that would bring her down and that would calm her nervous system. And I didn't realize at the time that's what I was doing. I mean, I didn't understand the whole science behind it. But I would stroke their little bodies, stroke their feet, or stroke their hands. And that is as simple as that. I mean, even if you just do that now, if you just feel your hands, just shut your eyes and feel your hands as if you've never felt them before. Feel that coming into your body. Feel how lovely it is. And you can do that under a desk. You know, you can do that anytime you like. Just stroke your hands and back into your body. And you can just feel the pleasure building in your body just from this connection with one hand and the
I
other.
already feel more relaxed. Why do you think we are scared to feel our bodies? Where does it come from? Is it stored trauma, or what is going to come up probably? Or
we have quite a long history of elevating the mind. So I think it's less frightened to be in our bodies, but more that we have dismissed our bodies. We have made the mind a god. We have put the mind on a pedestal. You know, since ancient times, we have known that if we place our hands on our hearts and breathe in and out of our hearts, it's calming. We know that if we feel panicked or something, we can breathe in and out of our hearts. And yet there's now something called heart maths,
Mm.
which is like, we can't trust that unless it's been given the title maths to go with it. So if I was to say, it will calm your system just to place your hands on your heart, there would be a lineup of people out there going, nah, not really. Not really. It's not been proved by science. Science hasn't said that's true. So we can't believe it. We can't believe our own experience of it because science hasn't proved it. We don't believe, and neither can we trust our own lived experience unless it's backed by science. So somebody once said to me, I don't trust my body.
What?
Well, people don't. They don't trust you. And I said, that's interesting. I said, does your body trust you?
Wow.
The very, very basics. When you're tired, do you get up and do the dishes at night before you go to bed because your mother trained you to leave a tidy kitchen? But actually, you're just really tired and you look at it and you go, oh, I just want to go to bed. But you force your body to do it. Why should your body trust you? Why should it trust you to lie down when it's tired? You have pushed your body to do something when it doesn't want to do it. How many people will be standing in a group and need to go to the bathroom and not say anything, wait until there is a break when they go to the bathroom because they don't want to say, excuse me, or just leave? Why should your body trust you? You can't even honor its most basic needs. Do you always drink when you are thirsty?
Wow. Seems to me like we really have to re-establish the relationship with our body, like a love relationship. We have to regain the trust, or the body has to regain the trust in ourselves or our souls, and condition the mind to be just this tool that it is, because in the end it's just a tool.
It is, and it's a fabulous tool. And it's a fabulous tool. And of course, the joy is that once you start trusting your body and your body starts trusting you, your body is like a tree. It knows exactly how to grow and where to go. And once you start trusting your body, your mind is free from all that. Should I do this? Should I do that? Is it, your mind is free to be a more fabulous tool than it is. Your mind is free to learn, to explore, and then you have the life that you're here to have. The body life, the pleasure in the body, the pleasure. There is nothing like pleasure to bring you back into the body. If I was to say to somebody, oh, let's work on a way of having your mind be a fantastic tool, they go, but if I go, let's work on a way of bringing incredible pleasure into your body, and then halfway through I say, and we're getting to the point, listen to what you're saying, listen to how original your thoughts are, listen to the space you've got for your mind to explore. They've got, yeah, because that's what comes in after it. That's the journey.
Oh. Thank you.
It's okay.
You are an angel. just feeling your energy and breathing with you did something with me, and having this conversation with you. So I don't know, I can't thank you enough. I hope a lot of people will see this and feel it and work with you. Wow.
That would be nice. Yeah. Yeah.
We should definitely.
Yeah.
You
I
are
am creating an inner child course.
wow.
And it will have nervous system regulation and then self-love as the start of it. It will access our own inner guidance as opposed to the self-talk that we have. So we will access our own inner guidance and build a lovely house foundation place for our inner child to be.
So important.
So important.
Number one topic these days is to love your inner child and reestablish that connection too, right?
Yes. Well, when you have that, when you go towards intimacy, you can then say to your inner child, and you can say it confidently.
Yeah.
You're not running this conversation, I am. You're not coming into the bedroom with me with this God man that I've found. I am. Because and if he's doing it too, then you both stand a chance. But mostly we are reactive in relationship. So, yeah, there is obviously a lot. It's taken me. Well, I stumbled into it, but my body led me.
Yeah. Do you want to share your experience? How did you stumble into it? Or
it was just one of those things. Like I had a 16-year marriage and a 5-year divorce. So my divorce, I have 4 children, and my divorce took me 5 years. And we had 3 court cases inside those 5 years. And it was at the far end of acrimonious. It was a seriously unpleasant divorce. And one night, yes. And I remember thinking, I am going to thrive when I come out of this. I am going to do more than just survive. I am not going to be just, oh, I survived this. I survived and I thrived, and I do believe I have. I don't think people would look at me and think that woman was so frightened she would hide behind curtains in case somebody came in a room. So it was there. And then one night, it was a full moon, and I was just standing in the garden looking up at it, and the thought popped into my head that I wanted to have tantric sex. I didn't know what tantra was really. I wanted to have it under the full moon, and I understood by tantra that I wanted connection. I wanted to feel that missing sense of there must be more. There must be something more. What is it? And the only word that came to me was tantra.
wow.
And so there was this sense that I needed to experience this. I needed the fullness of this. And then it just started falling into my lap and coming to me. And I just started practicing, yeah.
Wow.
And I came more and more into my body. Yeah.
Thank God. Thank you and your journey.
Yeah. It's life is an amazing thing, really.
It is.
It is a beautiful thing, but until we have switched that state where the body has the life and the mind is beautiful, our minds can make life really hard and tough for us. And that way of living, the way that most of us live, is a way that stops joy. and
Oh.
it brings in stress and expectation, and we're not here to live that. We're not. We're not put here to live that. We're put here to live in joy. We're put here to find a deep, wonderful sense of satisfaction inside our bodies. That's what we're here for.
Yes, we're here to be the goddesses and gods.
Yeah, your own God. You are a god. You are a goddess. There's nobody above you to tell you what to do. And it sounds selfish, but it's the selfish that, if you are a mother and your own cup is empty, you will shout at your children and shout at your husband. But if you are a mother and your own cup is full, you will give love. You won't shout at people because your own cup is full. You don't have to fill it in a selfish way. It's not about being selfish in the old-fashioned way. It's the new selfish. You fill your cup so that you can give and give from that full cup.
Beautiful. So I want to give you a few minutes we talked about your upcoming inner child workshop. I will definitely put everything as your website and how people can reach you in the description box below. But if there's something else, how can people reach you, and what's the name of the book? If maybe that's also interesting.
Yes. Well, I wrote a children's novel called The Witch of Land and Sea. So I have a link tree, and that's on the link tree. And so is a more adult book that I wrote under the name of Isabel Moss, which is called Eros and the Magician.
Wow.
Yeah, that's much more sexual. And it is more like the journey of surrender and trying to find the place of surrender. So that you like it, you don't like it, it's unusual. I am unusual. I am not. I don't know how I am myself, but I am. I feel I am. And the book is definitely a reflection of that.
Yeah.
And then you can book one-on-one coaching with me, and I'm producing a course which I've watched hours and hours of inner child coaching.
Wow.
And taken courses, and it was definitely part of my work. I did do tantra. I did a love, sex and relationship course. I did tantra. I did jade egg. I've done some NLP, internal family systems, EFT, like on and on and on. So the inner child course will be a body up course. So again, it's the thing that I haven't seen in other work, particularly that it's a body up course. It's finding the child in the body and then connecting, as opposed to connecting in the mind. And the connecting in the mind has also been really powerful work by a lot of people who've come before me. I'm just going to take that and bring it into the body.
Oh, I think it's time. It's so time. I would totally be interested in doing your workshop.
Yeah. It's going to be a 6-week course. It's much more than a workshop. And I will say to people, if you really, weren't self-regulated as a child, do the self-regulation work for 3 weeks first, because that must be deeply embodied. So keep doing that. That's yeah, your mind will fight you.
I think what you're doing is exactly what we need from the body up. I never heard that before, but I resonate so deeply with it.
Yes. There are a lot of people talking about Kundalini experiences and out-of-body experiences. That's not safe if you're not deeply rooted in your body. It's a mistake, and people can be traumatized from it. So you can achieve that state, but you must achieve it from a deeply embodied state, and then it does something different for you.
Wow.
That's just my belief, obviously.
I feel that, and I had experiences within the last few weeks where I just noticed that I was not rooted, but I thought I was. I thought I was rooted so deeply into Pachamama, but I wasn't.
Yes,
So
yes.
I couldn't jump out. It was just not possible, and now I know why.
Yes, yes. We need to be rooted in the body. Yeah, we need to be really grounded down into our bodies, and it's not something you can do once. It is a daily practice for a period of time until it is just then natural and a place to be, and then you can top it up. No harm in topping it up whenever you feel a little bit. You can come back in and ground down and feel safe in your body once you've got it.
Wow. I have this picture in my mind. This people learning to feel their bodies, or coming from a place from their body up, like you said. I love that term. And projecting it onto the world and onto Pachamama and what's happening with everything. Like we're truly coming into ourselves and into our role in this universe, or whatever this experience is, whatever you believe in. But it's just like clicking in that moment.
Yes.
Like, wow, we're there, we're doing it.
Yes. And you know, when you say that, you can see that the whole of the world is set up to be mined down. You know, all the people who have thought we can change the world by creating a rule or a law or a way for everybody to live up there. But that's not how it works. It is one person at a time. Every one person that radiates their pure frequency and they come into contact with other people who feel that are changing the world. So it's one and one and one, and it's not up there coming down, it's here going out. It's each person at a time. That's how we change the world.
Oh, yes. I'm so with you.
Yeah.
I will definitely put that in quotes. A lot of things I will put in quotes and post them with your name.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
I am going up to the Highlands to read a poem. It's quite a long poem. I don't think I posted it on Instagram, but I did post it on Facebook. And when I read this poem, I really felt the cells of my body change with this poem. I felt it had a really profound influence on me.
Would you like to share it with us?
Yeah, I'll need to take my glasses off to read it. But let me read this and see if you feel it as well. It's called Sometimes a Wild God by Tom Heron. Sometimes a wild god comes to the table. He is awkward and does not know the ways of porcelain, of fork and mustard and silver. His voice makes vinegar from wine. When the wild god arrives at the door, you will probably fear him. He reminds you of something dark that you might have dreamt, or the secret you do not wish to be shared. He will not ring the doorbell. Instead, he scrapes with his fingers, leaving blood on the paintwork. Though primroses grow in circles round his feet. You do not want to let him in. You are very busy. It is late or early, and besides, you cannot look at him straight because he makes you want to cry. Your dog barks. The wild god smiles. He holds out his hand, and the dog licks his wounds, then leads him inside. The wild god stands in your kitchen. Ivy is taking over your sideboard. Mistletoe has moved into the lampshades, and wrens have begun to sing an old song in the mouth of your kettle. I haven't much, you say, and give him the worst of your food. He sits at the table bleeding. He coughs up foxes. There are otters in his eyes. When your wife calls down, you close the door and tell her it's fine. You will not let her see the strange guest at your table. The wild god asks for whiskey, and you pour a glass for him, then a glass for yourself. 3 snakes are beginning to nest in your voice box. You cough. O limitless space, O eternal mystery, O endless cycles of death and birth, O miracle of life, O the wondrous dance of it all. You cough again, expectorate the snakes and water down the whiskey, wondering how you got so old and where the passion went. The wild god reaches into a bag made of moles and nightingale skin. He pulls out a 2-reeded pipe, raises an eyebrow, and all the birds begin to sing. The fox leaps into your eyes. Otters rush from the darkness. The snakes pour through your body. The dog howls, and upstairs, your wife both exults and weeps at once. The wild god dances with your dog. You dance with the sparrows. A white stag pulls up a stool and bellows hymns to enchantments. A pelican leaps from chair to chair. In the distance, warriors pour from their tombs. Ancient gold grows like grass in the fields. Everyone dreams the words to long-forgotten songs. The hills echo, and the grey stones ring with laughter and madness and pain. In the middle of the dance, the house takes off from the ground. Clouds climb through the windows. Lightning pounds its fist on the table, and the moon leans in. The wild god points to your side. You are bleeding heavily. You have been bleeding for a long time, possibly since you were born. There is a bear in the wound. Why did you leave me to die? Asks the wild god. And you say, I was busy surviving. The shops were all closed. I didn't know how. I'm sorry. Listen to them. The fox in your neck, and the snakes in your arms, and the wren and the sparrow and the deer, the great unnameable beasts in your liver and your kidneys and your heart. There is a symphony of howling, a cacophony of dissent. The wild god nods his head, and you wake on the floor holding a knife, a bottle, and a handful of black fur. Your dog is asleep on the table. Your wife is stirring far above. Your cheeks are wet with tears. Your mouth aches from laughter or shouting. A black bear is sitting by the fire. Sometimes a wild god comes to the table. He is awkward and does not know the ways of porcelain, of fork and mustard and silver. His voice makes vinegar and wine and brings the dead to life.
This went deep.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing this.
Yeah, I think it's really beautiful. It speaks of our lost selves, our lost child inside that is true and wild, needs to be heard. Look.
You look beautiful.
So I am going up to the Highlands of Scotland, and I'm going to climb all over the hills and through the rivers, and I'm going to read this poem aloud.
Read it to the land.
Read it to the streams, read it to the trout, read it to the birds flying overhead.
I feel you're truly an earth angel. You're something else.
Thank you so much for giving me so much of your time this morning.
You really give me so much. I have no idea how I can. I will just do my best with the podcast and hope that the energy will attract and spread wherever it's supposed to go. But I feel that energetically a lot already ripples in the field.
Yes. Yes.
Beautiful soul.
Yes. So maybe when I run around the hills and the highlands reading my poem, this poem, it will also change the energy.
Definitely.
Yeah. Now maybe go to derelict buildings as well. All sorts of places. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. It's been a total pleasure.
Me too. I can't put it into words, but I hope you can feel it.
I can really feel it, and I'm really grateful to be seen like that, to be seen, to be recognized, and to be celebrated by you. Yeah, it's huge. Thank you.
Beautiful beings, thanks for watching this episode. If you want to see more, like and subscribe and hit the bell. And if you want to work with this beautiful woman, check out the links I put in the description box below. I love you.